हे एवरीवन, वेलकम टू माय चैनल फीलियर जितेश। मैं आज आप लोगों के लिए पॉलिटी के लेक्चर्स बहुत ही फेमस कोचिंग के अपलोड कर रहा हूँ। प्लीज़ कोई स्ट्राइक कोई कंप्लेन मत कीजिएगा, ये सिर्फ उन लोगों के लिए हैं जो अफोर्ड नहीं कर सकते हैं। मैं पहले ही माफ़ी मांग रहा हूँ, बाद में आप लोग ये मत कहिएगा कि आप चोरी कर रहे हो, ऐसा कर रहे हो, वैसा करो। देखिए, मेरे को भी कहीं से मिले तो मुझे लगा कि उन स्टूडेंट्स के लिए डाल दिए जाएँ, जो अफोर्ड नहीं कर सकते। मैं भी उनमें से ही हूँ एक। मैं चाहता हूँ कि आप लोग इसका भरपूर इस्तेमाल करें, अच्छे से पढ़ें। दीज आर दी बेस्ट लेक्चर्स एंड मैं भी इससे पढ़ रहा हूँ, आप लोग भी इससे पढ़ो। एंड कोशिश करूँगा जल्द से जल्द सारे लेक्चर्स डाल दूँ। तो प्लीज़ अच्छे से पढ़िए। अब सही समय है सही से तैयारी करने का, तो अच्छे से तैयारी करिए। चलिए, आई होप यू विल लव दी लेक्चर्स। प्लीज़ लाइक शेयर एंड सब्सक्राइब माई चैनल।
आर्टिकल 14 क्या है? Article 12, definition of state. Now see, somebody just now asked me, which I explained in the previous class also, is judiciary part of state? Okay, let me tell you, in constitution and in legal terms, many things are left for open interpretation later on. So if you read the definition of state in Article 12, you will come to know they have specifically given the word legislature and executive, but they have avoided the word judiciary. It does not mean that judiciary can escape the definition of state. If tomorrow judiciary comes to take away your fundamental rights, you can claim. बोलो आर्टिकल 15 क्या है? आप तो पढ़ के आए हो ना, बताओ। नो डिस्क्रिमिनेशन नहीं, बोलो राइट अगेंस्ट डिस्क्रिमिनेशन। राइट अगेंस्ट डिस्क्रिमिनेशन। कम प्रिपेयर्ड फॉर द क्लास। स्टेट शेल नॉट, I discussed that earlier also. Article 15(1) की language क्या है? The notes which you are getting right now from me, they are the, cut short version, the best simplified notes. Otherwise there is so much of explanation, you actually forget the crux. ये उसका basic crux है. Over to that there will be some facts which you can read from Lakshmikant also. कुछ facts ऐसे भी हैं जो you can read from Lakshmikant. For example, when I discuss right to assemble, okay, I will not go into the each and every nitty-gritty of it because time be limited hai. In Lakshmikant it is written that right to assemble, section 144 is not a violation of right to assemble. lag jate na dhara 144 that not more than 4 or 5 people cannot stand together, to wo violation nahi hai right to assemble ka. These things you please read from the book or from the vision notes, ye dono mein diya hua hai. Okay, what I mean to say is that use these notes plus go home and have a look on the other thing also एक बार and keep doing it simultaneously. उसको जमा करके मत रखो. Okay, Article 15 clause 1, write down. Is it available to everybody or available only to citizens? Article 15 is available only to citizens and Article 14 person. Very good. Article 14 की आप language देखो. It says state what? Shall not deny equality before law and equal protection of law to any person. किसी को भी, even foreigners, provided he is not from an enemy country. ठीक है sir? Write down. Article 15 clause 1, you write this. You write this and keep reading what you're writing and then I'll explain. The 15 clause 1 says state shall not discriminate against the citizens. Underline the word citizen. State shall not discriminate against citizens only on the grounds of, how many grounds are there? Very good. Only on the grounds of religion, race. Race means भागने वाली रेस नहीं, नस्ल. रेस, कास्ट, सेक्स, प्लेस ऑफ बर्थ or any of them alone. लिखो सर, or any of them alone. Article 15(1) says that state cannot discriminate against anyone on the basis of religion, race, caste, sex, place of birth, or any of them, means combination of them. Tell me one thing, sir. Is not actually state discriminating against some people on the basis of sex? When women, they were not given entry into armed forces, just now they got. Was it not a discrimination on the basis of sex? Why not? No, but that can happen with men also. In fact, it can happen that you and him both went to the front. You came back alive, victorious. He got caught. ऐसा भी हो सकता है. What was the reason that they were not allowed into armed forces on the basis of sex? Was the only basis? I'm not using the word gender here. Reason being, only sex word has been mentioned here. Otherwise, gender would have been better. Because gender has a social connotation. और sex है biological. Was it? आप बताओ जी, जल्दी, quick. हाँ, NDA में तो they were allowed combat role. It was protective discrimination. How come, sir? अरे simple है, you could have given answer very fast. They are not considered inferior to men biologically. They are considered different biologically than men. And when this was done because sex along with something was the reason for the discrimination. Understood? इंफीरियर और डिफरेंस में कोई फर्क है कि नहीं है? मुझे बात बताओ. आप यू आर बायोलॉजिकली डिफरेंट फ्रॉम विमेन और सेम? डिफरेंट. विल इट मीन दैट यू आर इंफीरियर और सुपीरियर? भाई अलग होने का मतलब ये थोड़ी ना इंफीरियर सुपीरियर हो गए. राइट और रॉन्ग? Women were not given combat role for this reason only, not because they were women per se. Reason being, biologically they were different from men, and those biological realities could have hampered their role in the battlefield. Understood? Pregnancy is one of the grounds. और चीज, फॉर एग्जाम्पल ये देखो सर, ऑन द बेसिस ऑफ कास्ट स्टेट शुड नॉट डिस्क्रिमिनेट. यही लिखा है आपने, that state should not discriminate on the basis of caste. But are we not discriminating on the basis of caste when we give reservation to one person? What is the explanation? Hanji, you tell me. Because caste was not the only factor which brought this reservation or discrimination against the people from upper categories. Caste, yes, along with caste, the factor was backwardness. Therefore, we could actually discriminate, or we could actually extend one benefit to one person from a lower caste, not to the upper caste people. वो caste उसका reason नहीं था. The reason was caste along with their backwardness. ठीक है ना? This is it. This is what you have written. That on the basis of these 5 grounds or their combination, you cannot discriminate. But if there is an extra factor beyond these 5 points, then that can become a ground to extend protective discrimination, not discrimination. There is a difference between them or not? Protective discrimination word has been used, sir, in which article? कहाँ लिखा हुआ है? Nowhere it is written. Only word which is written is equal protection of law. और उसी से हमने निकाला है कि when there is equal protection of law, to provide equal protection of law, first we have to make everybody equal, lower caste, upper caste. And to make everybody equal, we can give them positive discrimination or protective discrimination. For example, reservation. For example, scholarship. फॉर एग्जाम्पल इजी एडमिशन, फॉर एग्जाम्पल इजी प्रमोशन, ये सारी प्रोटेक्टिव डिस्क्रिमिनेशन ही तो है. एंड दे आर कमिंग आउट नॉट बिकॉज दे आर मेंशन्ड इन द कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन पर से, दे आर कमिंग आउट बिकॉज प्रोटेक्टिव डिस्क्रिमिनेशन इज पार्ट ऑफ इक्वल प्रोटेक्शन ऑफ लॉ इंटरप्रिटेटिवली. और इक्वल प्रोटेक्शन ऑफ लॉ तो कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन में लिखा ही हुआ है. When you come for a new class, especially on Monday, remember this. Please go through what you have read in the previous class. Right now I am repeating the things again and again. Slowly I may not. Connection में मुश्किल होगा आपको. Okay? Write down. These conditions alone are not sufficient. Please keep reading what you're writing. These conditions alone are not sufficient grounds. These conditions alone are not sufficient grounds to have a discrimination under equal protection of law. Under equal protection of law, yes, but these conditions must be accompanied by equal protection of law, but these conditions must be accompanied by some other factor also. How will you remember articles? कैसे याद रखोगे? For example, when you do what? You first read the notes, go through them again and again, and try to make synopsis also of them. For example, if I discuss fundamental rights in 30 pages, you make a synopsis of those fundamental rights in 2 pages. छोटा छोटा उनके बारे में लिख लो. And even while roaming outside, or anytime whenever you are free, just go through them quickly. But then go through them quickly, intermittently. It should not happen that you do not revise the main notes and you come only on the synopsis, because the main juice is in notes only. Okay? Article 15(1) के आगे आप लिख लो no discrimination. To remember, in front of article 15(2) you can write what? What is 15(2)? Public places, entry to public places. Okay, write down. This is the way to remember them easily. Article 15 clause 2 prohibits the state this right is available against the state or individual also? Both. Very good. But not the whole part, only the second part. Write down. Article 15 clause 2 prohibits the state and the individual both, read what you're writing, both from discriminating against any citizen only on the grounds of how many grounds? 5. Religion, race, sex, caste, place of birth, or any of them, in having access to public places such as park, hotels, entertainment hubs, hospitals, etc. Or what are the other public places where you wanted to go but you were prevented? कहाँ जाना चाहते थे? टेम्पल, घाट जाना जरूरी है. ओके, लिखो वेल्स, टैंक्स, घाट्स, roads. Can anybody be prevented from entering into a temple? Cannot be prevented. Can anybody be prevented from entering into a temple? Yes. सबरीमला केस, वेरी गुड, रिसेंट केस. और कोई ऐसी जगह? शनि शिंगणापुर. कैन विमेन एंटर इनसाइड दैट? सर, दे कैन एंटर, बट एक बात बताओ, इफ somebody prevents them from entering, will that be legal or illegal? Legal or illegal? Jagannath temple, you have seen that or not? Jagannath temple, what is written outside? There was a rule earlier that Muslims cannot enter inside the Jagannath temple, or who is a non-Hindu, Muslims, Christian, Parsi, they are not allowed inside. Indira Gandhi wanted to enter inside Jagannath temple, but then she was prevented because she was married to a, therefore she was not allowed inside. She put a case that this is a violation of Article 15 clause 2. Though Supreme Court then gave judgment in her favor, but what I mean to say is that we cannot explicitly say whether it is legal or illegal to enter inside a temple. The ownership of the temple will also decide. समझ रहे हो? Ownership means, for example, I may make a own temple in my house, then you cannot enter inside. नहीं, ये तो temple है, मैं तो आके रहूंगा, और पता चला चोरी करके चले गए. That is not allowed. But then if the temple somehow has a repercussion on people at large, or it is receiving donations from, different sources, then court can justify that yes, this is not your private temple, even if it is maintained by trust. उसमें लोग आ सकते हैं, irrespective of caste, religion, gender. ठीक है ना? So you cannot say in just one line whether it is legal or illegal to enter a temple. कौन से type का temple है? That will also have a repercussion on the judgment. Understood? But then see, Wells Ghat, the same will apply here also. If Ghat, you understand or not? If I have a Ghat, मैंने अपने लिए खुद के लिए घाट बनाया somehow, but then that Ghat, can I make the Ghat on river Ganga? Private Ghat तो बन ही नहीं सकता. Government will fund the Ghat or not? If something is funded by government, you cannot stop anybody from using that, because वो public place हो जाता है. Road, if there is a road, it is built by government, nobody can be prevented from walking on the road. Because see, wells, ghat, roads, tanks, which are funded by government, okay, not private. There you cannot have this kind of restrictions or discrimination. But there can be some instances when you have a private, for example, I said, well, if I have a well in my backyard, then you cannot say, no, I will enter inside. It's a public place. Public place वो तब होगी जब it is funded by government, or it has a larger repercussion on people, or it is getting donations from different sources. As I told you, Jagannath temple. ठीक है ना? Legality can be fought. Which article is related to this part? आपको क्या लगता है? This part, Article 15 Clause 2, is dealing with what, or is fighting with what? Untouchability. ये जो बनाया गया है, पर्पस से बनाया हुआ है. It is to fight untouchability. Earlier there was a practice that if I am a Brahmin and I am walking on a road, then somebody from a lower caste cannot even walk on the road. Okay, अगर क्वेश्चन एग्जाम में आ गया, which are the articles or which is the article which is used to fight untouchability, और उन्होंने ये ऑप्शन दे दिया, Article 17, 16, 15, 14, 13, then and they give you some combination also. Do not ignore this. इसको छोड़ना नहीं है. Which article is used to fight untouchability? Of course, Article 17 तो सबको पता ही है. Article 15 can also be an answer provided you have an option to choose both. ठीक है ना? 15 clause 2 is also something which fights untouchability. You getting me or not? Exam की बात बता रहा हूँ. How to deal with the questions. No, that is a different thing. But then see, when you are preventing somebody from entering into a ghat or using a ghat, are you not practicing untouchability? यही तो untouchability है ना? Right now. Parks, hotel, entertainment, hospital, etc. or wells, tanks, ghats or road maintained out of state's fund. No, you can challenge the legality on that also. Yes. Do not think that whatever is happening is legal. You can file a PIL against it, citing the violation of fundamental rights, and court will give you relief. But then, till the time you file a PIL or petition, court will not intervene on its own. ये आपने लिखा है ना? Generally, court will not take cognizance of these issues suo motu. You file this petition, they will give you justice. For example, till Indira Gandhi put this case that there is a violation of my Article 15(2) when I am prevented from entering into Jagannath temple. Till the time nobody filed that, and judiciary also did not take the cognizance. In that case, judiciary also said she should be allowed because this is her right. Jagannath temple is not a private property of the trust which is managing it. वो तो पब्लिक का है, फंडिंग भी तो आती है तुम्हें हर जगह से. ओके, बोलो सर. If you have opened a temple and it has become famous, okay. Yes. Untouchability लग जाएगा सर. Even in Jagannath temple there is no state fund. But then see, state is helping that temple to run or not. For example, just now, the government of Odisha, they gave some funds to the repairing of Jagannath temple. कुछ उसमें टूट-फूट हो गई थी. They gave some funds. And if you have opened a temple which is that big that people from every part of the world are coming, then of course you must be getting some funding from different sources also. है कि नहीं है? Some support from state also. For example, if you have built such a famous and big temple, you might be having some processions also organized around the temple. उसके लिए you are taking help of state machinery also, right or wrong? And if state is helping you in carrying out that activity in the larger interest of public, then of course you are actually getting the aid from state. Understanding or not? एक मेरी बात सुनो. You cannot say in black or white कि भाई state funding है कि नहीं. State funding may not be in cash. Even if the administration is extending its support, not for you, but since they know that the temple is attracting tourists from the whole world, then will it not become a kind of public place? Though you can contest this also in court. ठीक है ना? We don't have a ready-made answer for these things. Contesting can be done in court. For example, if he says one thing, he will say another thing, then again he will give an answer, and only court will decide whether in this case that is a public place or not. Because there are so many parameters to declare something as a public place. ये मैंने आपको बोला ना. For example, the temple was built. आप जगन्नाथ टेम्पल को ले लो. The temple was not built by state or by public. A raja, a king, he made it. Single-handedly बनाया था उसने उसको. But today it is not his private property, nor his descendants' private property. Getting me or not, sir? Today it has become a public place. Though it was built by a person individually, and he himself did not know that at one point of time this will attract so many people from across the spectrum, across the world. But आज वो कर रहा है, and state is extending every help to the temple management to restore it, to run it. So will it not become public place? Right or no? And it can be contested. I am not saying that will be or not. Contest to chalega hi chalega court ke andar. What will be the judgment of the court? That will decide whether your temple is public place or not. Understood, sir? Article 15(3). What should I write in front of it? Women and children. Okay, write down. Article 15 clause 3 is an exception to Article 15 clause 1. 15 clause 1 is this, 15 clause 3 is this. 15.3 is an exception to Article 15 clause 1, says that state can make special provisions for the welfare of women and children. Women and children. For example, state can give scholarship to women, not to men. State can waive off the fees for women, not for men. State can give education free of cost to children, not to an adult. वो कर सकते हैं हम लोग, ठीक है? Article 15 clause 4. What should I write? Backward classes. Write down. And when was Article 15 clause 4 introduced? Very good. You wrote that previously also. Okay. First Amendment Act, which year? Very good. Write down. Article 15 clause 4 was introduced. Means it was not initially in the Constitution. Was added later on. Was introduced by First Amendment Act 1951. It empowers the state to make any special provision for the advancement of socially and educationally backward communities, SEBC. Socially and educationally, not economically, socially and educationally. E means education. Socially and educationally backward communities or classes of citizens लिख लो. Socially and educationally backward classes of citizens or SCs and STs, scheduled caste and scheduled tribes. What should I write here? Okay, write down. First write down the language, then I'll tell. Article 15 clause 5. When was it introduced or was it there originally? Very good. 93rd Amendment Act, which year? बहुत बढ़िया, 2005. Write down. Article 15 clause 5, 2006 में sir it was enforced, but the act was 2005 only. Okay, write down. Introduced by Article 15 clause 5, introduced by 93rd Amendment Act 2005. Please read this. Very good. It empowers the state. ये state को permit करता है. It empowers the state to make special provisions for admissions of backward classes of citizens, not socially and educationally, only backward. Special provisions for the admission of backward classes of citizens. Where? कहाँ पे admission allow हो रहा है sir? In educational institution. Private or government? including private educational institutions, including private educational institution, aided or unaided, both, including private educational institution, aided or unaided. Aided means an institution which is receiving fund from government or support from government. Okay, aided or unaided, except, very good sir, except minority educational institutions. See, IITs, did you have this reservation for OBCs in IITs before 2006? था क्या? नहीं था. IIMs, NITs, no. These are central education institutions or not? They did not have reservation for OBCs before 2006. Okay, so government introduced Article 15 Clause 5 in 2005. 2005 में government ने पहले ये add किया. See, to make a law, you should first have the power to make the law or not. You are parliament, you want to make law in a specific area. And that area, to make law in that area, you are not empowered first of all. तो पहले क्या करोगे आप? Parliament wants to make law in an area in which, as per constitution, Parliament cannot make law. So what should Parliament do first? First, Parliament will do an amendment and that power will be taken on itself through constitution. पहले खुद लिख देंगे, yes, I am powerful enough to make law in this area, and then it will make the law. So till 2006, Parliament had no power to provide for reservation for OBCs in central educational institutions. Central educational institution means the educational institutions which were run by central government, or they were coming under the control of central government. So what did Parliament do? They first passed 93rd Amendment Act 2005 and they introduced Article 15 Clause 5. इसमें ये लिखा है that Parliament can make law to provide for reservation for backward communities in educational institution, including private, चाहे वो private है तो भी, but it should not be a minority institution. Understood? Now this, because this power was there, Parliament passed another law which was this Central Educational Institution Reservation in Admission Act 2006. वो पास किया उन्होंने. And they said now on, अब के बाद, even in central educational institutions, with some exceptions, OBCs will get reservation 27%. उससे पहले नहीं थी reservation for OBCs in these institutions. Write down. This led to the passage of central educational institutions Reservation in Admission Act 2006, which provided for reserving up to 27% seats for OBCs, other backward communities. For OBCs, other backward communities, where कहाँ ये reservation दी जा रही है? Not educational institution, sir. In central educational institutions. Okay. In central educational institutions, except, example of central educational institution, IIT, IIM, JNU, or not. Central educational institutions except ओबीसीज को रिजर्वेशन मिलेगी एजुकेशनल इंस्टीट्यूशंस में, एक्सेप्ट माइनॉरिटी. इफ एन इंस्टीट्यूशन इज अ माइनॉरिटी एजुकेशनल इंस्टीट्यूशन, ओके, वो माइनॉरिटी का एजुकेशनल इंस्टीट्यूशन है, यू विल नॉट गिव रिजर्वेशन टू ओबीसीज देयर, राइट? Apart from minority education institutions, what are the other areas in which reservation to OBCs cannot be given? Education के अंदर वो कौन से और areas हैं जहां reservation allowed नहीं है OBCs को? First is educational institution for minorities, वहां allowed नहीं है. What are the other areas in which reservation to OBCs in educational institutions are not allowed? एक तो ये है. What else? You have heard something about Schedule 6 or not? But you know this or not? Schedule 6 areas. What are these? Schedule 6 areas सुने आपने? Schedule 5, Schedule 6. See, Schedule 6 areas are those areas. Schedule 6 areas are those areas in Assam, Meghalaya, Mizoram, and Tripura, which are inhabited by tribals. Government has declared that these areas are tribal areas and they have been given the status of Schedule 6 areas. Protection मिली हुई है उनको. They have liberty to manage those areas. Okay. Schedule 5 are the tribal areas. I'll discuss that later on when I'll take up schedules. अभी इतना समझ लो. Schedule 6 areas are those areas in Assam, Meghalaya, Mizoram, and which area? Tripura, inhabited by tribal people. ठीक है? They are Schedule 6. Now, if there is an educational institution which is situated in this area of Assam, Meghalaya, Mizoram, or Tripura, then there also OBCs will not get reservation up to 27%. वहां भी नहीं मिलेगी. What is the third area? What is the third area of education where reservation up to 27% for OBCs is not allowed under this act? Private नहीं sir. Institutions of higher research. For example, बार्क का नाम सुना है आपने? Okay. Tata Institute of Fundamental Research, you have heard or not? These are institutions where fundamental research is carried out. There also, if we give reservation to OBCs 27%, then it is said that the quality of research might come down. इसलिए वहां reservation allowed नहीं है. Understood? Right. Except minority institutions, comma, those situated in Schedule 6 areas, and certain others, specified research institutions, certain other specified research institutions like Tata Institute of Fundamental Research, Homi Bhabha, BHABA, होमी भाभा का तो नाम सुना है ना सर आपने? होमी भाभा नेशनल रिसर्च इंस्टीट्यूट, फिजिकल रिसर्च लैब. वेयर इज दिस फिजिकल रिसर्च लैब? एनीबडी फ्रॉम गुजरात? अहमदाबाद, वेरी गुड, अहमदाबाद एटसेट्रा. पूरी लिस्ट है जो गवर्नमेंट ने आउट की है. ओके, बोलो सर. Sir, that will do when we take up right to religion. What is Article 16 Clause 1? Somebody from the last row should answer. वो बचे रहते हैं. The people sitting at the front, they are caught always. Somebody at the back should tell me. हाँ सर आप बताओ. What is Article 16 Clause 1? Public employment. To citizens or everybody? Citizens. This is positively worded or negatively worded? हाँ जी आप बताओ. 16 clause 1 is positively worded or negatively worded? ये ऐसी तुक्का मार के पॉजिटिव बोल रहे हैं, you have know this? Tell me. You are right. But then do you actually remember or you just said एक तो चुनना ही है, चलो पॉजिटिव बोल देते हैं? No. I told you explicitly when I started fundamental rights that there are two categories of fundamental right. One category, it prevents the state from doing something. And the other category, it tells the state, ये करो, ये वो वाला है करो, commandment. Article 16 clause 1 is giving direction to state, do this. 15.1 was it positively worded or negatively worded? Positively, negatively. It was preventing state from discriminating. यहाँ ये बोल रहा है, state shall provide equal opportunity to citizens in public employment. सरकारी नौकरी में सारे citizens को बराबर opportunity मिलनी चाहिए. This is what Article 16 clause 1 says. Okay, write down. Article 16 clause 1 provides for, this year also 16 article is very important, reason being reservation issue was in news very much. ठीक है sir, write down. 16 clause 1 provides for equality of opportunity for all the citizens. Equality of opportunity for all the citizens in case of public employment. What is Article 16 clause 2? देखो, I know this thing that you do not know, but in case I ask you, you might give some wrong answers even, but then at least you are trying. फिर घर जाके पढ़ोगे तो सही. What is the fun if I just keep talking and you keep listening and be lost somewhere else, or I keep dictating or you keep writing? Question पूछने से फायदा रहता है. Do not take it to your heart that I asked you a question and you could not answer. Okay, बताओ. 16 clause 2, what is it? 16 clause 1, state shall provide equal opportunity to all to get public employment. सबको बराबर opportunity दो. 16 clause 2 is just opposite of it. State shall not discriminate against anyone on the grounds of religion, caste, then race, sex, place of birth. यहां दो तीन चीज ज्यादा है. और सर रेसिडेंस और डिसेंट. Write down this, I'll explain. Article 16 clause 2 prohibits मतलब रोकता है, prohibits the state from discriminating against citizens only on the grounds of religion, race, caste, sex, place of birth, residence, descent, किस वंश के हो आप लोग. ओके, इन गेनिंग पब्लिक एम्प्लॉयमेंट. Residence and descent are the two conditions which are added here. In other articles, it is not so. Question में पूछ सकता है, I can ask you this in prelims. Okay, in gaining public employment, is residence actually a ground on which state can prohibit somebody from getting employment? भाई यहाँ तो देखो, Constitution is very funny. 16(1) में क्या लिखा? State shall provide equal opportunity to all. 16(2) it said nobody should be discriminated. चलो ठीक है, on the basis of religion, race, caste and residence. And 16 clause 3, what is it? 16 clause 3 if seen that way, is actually making a mockery of 16.2. वह क्या बोलता है 16.3? 16 clause 3 says state मतलब government at the union level can reserve some seats in public jobs for people from a particular area only. Okay, for example, if you आपका एक dream था, you always wanted to become a clerk in Andhra Pradesh services because you belong to Andhra Pradesh. Let me tell you, if you are from Andhra Pradesh, means you are a resident of Andhra Pradesh, domicile of Andhra Pradesh, then that job can be given only to you. If I am coming from Delhi, I will not be in a position to apply for that, because for some jobs, specific jobs, class 3 and class 4 jobs in Andhra Pradesh, residence is a specific criteria to deny somebody a job there in Andhra Pradesh. Okay, government deny कर सकती है आपको job, that since you are not a resident of that state or domicile of that state, you are not eligible to get the job. Understood? Right now. Yes, that can be done. But public employment की बात करो, I'm talking about public employment.
I'm just saying about the individual.
No. This is only about public employment, sir. ठीक है? Right now. एक बात बताओ, if in Andhra Pradesh, class 3, class 4 jobs are to be reserved. Andhra Pradesh में you have to reserve class 3 and class 4 jobs. Then in that case, law is to be made that in this area, class 3, class 4 jobs will be reserved for only Andhra people. Law तो बनाना ही पड़ेगा ना पहले. Who will make this law? Andhra Pradesh government or parliament? हाँ जी, आपको क्या लगता है? What do you feel? Who will make the law? Andhra government or parliament? Parliament. What could be the logic? Why we have given this power to parliament, not to the respective state legislature? क्या लगता है आपको? We can reserve few seats in public job for the people from that state only. बाहर वाले allowed नहीं है. And regarding this, law can be made only by parliament, as you said very correctly also. Why this power has not been given to state legislature and only to parliament? बोलो सर. अरे सिंपल सी बात है. What the need of thinking? There should not be even a second delay. Union list में नहीं, आप ये सोचो, if this is allowed to be done, every state will reserve the seats for its own people. बाकी वालों को क्या होगा? In some states, population are more, jobs are less. If they are not allowed to go to other areas and do jobs, will it not be kind of a disintegrating force? Unity integrity का क्या होगा? Which is written in preamble. So this is not the power given to parliament. You never know in what form UPSC will use the information. Right? Write down. 16 clause 3. Under 16 clause 3, parliament is empowered. Parliament is empowered. Remember this. Parliament is empowered to provide residence as a ground. Residence as a ground is empowered to provide by law residence as a ground for qualification in certain categories of employment, under the state. Have you ever applied for any other state services? Did somebody apply for Odisha PCS ever? करा है कभी apply? You apply and you will find yourself eligible to appear for that exam. What could be the reason? Domicile reason नहीं है. वो भी नहीं. That is not a reason at all. They will not say that since you are not from Odisha or you are not a domicile of Odisha, you cannot appear for this exam. वो ऐसा बोलेंगे नहीं. But still they can filter you out. What is the way? वो language लगा देंगे. They will say that you should have studied Odia for the first 5 years. खत्म game. This is applicable to most of the states with a linguistic unique tendencies. जैसे कि southern states, Tamil. You should know Tamilian. you should know Tamil. वो ये लिख देंगे. They will not say that since you are not a resident of this state, you are not eligible. Now somehow you can learn Tamil also. पता चला exam is 2 years आगे Tamil रट ली 6 महीने. No. Then they gave another condition that you should have studied in a Tamil school, or you should have studied in a Odia medium up to 5th class or 6th class. Okay. I mean, states are having their own ways to filter out people, but parliament or constitution did not bring this kind of disqualification. ठीक है sir? Right now. Residence can be a ground for qualification in certain categories of employment under the state. Example, you know, this was actually a rule. Let me tell you, इसे कहते थे ये मुल्क rule. Mulk rule was a rule or a law made by the Nizam of Hyderabad. He said in this category, class 3 or class 4, people from outside this Hyderabad state cannot appear to apply. I mean, they cannot apply for the job. When we became independent, we also allowed the Mulk rule to prevail for 10 years, and it has been going on. Even now, Andhra Pradesh has got this residence ground applicable. Okay, only Andhra Pradesh. Next. 16 clause 4. ये है काम का आर्टिकल 16 क्लॉज 4. वैसे सभी काम के हैं, बट 16 क्लॉज 4 इज मोस्ट प्रोमिनेंट, मोस्ट कंट्रोवर्शियल, राइट? हाँ जी. मुल्क रूल अभी लिखा है ना आपको, मुल्क रूल 16 क्लॉज 4. टेल मी सर, व्हाट इज इट? प्रमोशंस और पब्लिक एम्प्लॉयमेंट. Promotion was not there. Promotion was added later, है ना? But originally 16.4, what it says? Very good. Reservation for backward classes. Write down. ये है reservation. For backward classes. Write down. 16 clause 4 empowers the state to make special provisions in the favor of backward classes of citizens in case of public employment. Comma, if, this is important, if, when will you give reservation to a particular category which is backward, of course? कब दोगे? If it is not, very good. You will give reservation to a particular backward community if and only if that community is not adequately represented in public employment. समझ रहे हो सर? But then is it actually implemented on ground? You feel so? Write down. If the backward class, if that backward class is not adequately represented in the service under the state, state cannot introduce reservation in the favor of backward classes unless two conditions are met. दो कंडीशंस मीट होंगी तभी रिजर्वेशन दी जाएगी. अनलेस टू कंडीशंस आर मेट. फर्स्ट, what is the first condition? That you will give reservation to a particular class. That class should be economically नहीं, socially and educationally backward. There is a difference, है कि नहीं है? For example, let me tell you, Gujars, they are OBCs or not? As far as I know, they are OBCs. But then they are economically not backward, but still they are given reservation or not? Because they are socially and educationally backward. ठीक है sir? Right now. if only two conditions are met. First, the said classes of citizens, the said मतलब जिसकी बात कर रहे हैं, the said classes of citizens should be socially and educationally, remember it is not economical, socially and educationally backward. And second, it shall not be adequately represented in government service. उनका नंबर बहुत कम है. Let me tell you a small thing that may be a foreground for your better understanding. See, बी मंडल, जिसको हम फेमस मंडल केस बोलते हैं ना हम लोग, मंडल कमीशन. मोरारजी देसाई, he was the prime minister of this country and he set this Mandal commission 1978. Okay, then he gave this mandate to this commission that you please give us some steps by which we can raise the standard of certain classes which are considered to be backward in this country. कुछ classes को identify करो जो backward है और उनको ऊपर उठाने का तरीका बताओ. This Mandal Commission gave its report that 3000 something classes are backward socially and educationally. ये classes backward हैं. ये किसने बताया? Mandal Commission ने. And they should be given some extra advantage in public employment particularly, जिसको reservation बोलते हैं. Then Mr. VP Singh came to power and he in 1990 introduced reservation to OBCs. Scheduled castes and scheduled tribes were already having reservation, but OBCs were not having. So in 1990, OBCs also got reservation. And what was the percentage? 27%. What is the combined percentage of reservation for SC, ST? Combined. कितना बताया अभी आपने? 49 है ना? It cannot be 26 because if it is 26, it will cross the limit. Anyways, then on the recommendation of Mandal Commission, VP Singh gave a reservation of 27% to other backward communities. वो चली आ रही है. How could VP Singh give reservation to other backward communities? Which article? Which article? 16 clause 3. अरे अभी तो आपने ये लिखा है 16 clause 4. VP Singh, when he gave reservation to OBCs, he did so because Article 16 clause 4 says that if there are some communities which are socially and educationally backward, you give reservation to them. And Mandal Commission identified those classes which were socially and educationally backward, and he told you give 27% reservation because their population is also so much. ठीक है सर? But then again somebody contested this. किसी ने केस डाल दिया in Supreme Court. Somebody put a case that giving, देखो, this is not a fight for this reservation to SC ST. Fight किसके लिए? OBCs के लिए. Then somebody put a case which is known as the famous Mandal case, or which is also called as Indira Sahani case 1992. इसको मंडल केस भी बोलते हैं. They challenged the constitutionality of reservation in jobs. उन्होंने बोला यार ये रिजर्वेशन का चक्कर ही खत्म करो. And moreover, see, when VP Singh came to power, he gave reservation to on the basis of economics also. For example, if somebody is from upper caste, he will also get reservation if he is poor. Means the ambit of reservation is getting increased or not? If you are SC, reservation, ST, reservation, OBC, reservation. If you are poor, then also reservation. So somebody challenged this practice in court in this famous case, Indira Sahani case, which is also known as Mandal case. And Supreme Court gave judgment. And this judgment had so many elements which are practiced even till now. उसके दो चार element लिख लो आप. What was the judgment? Supreme Court in Indira Sahani case, 1992. Is it legible from that side? आप पढ़ पा रहे हो उसको? Supreme Court in Indira Sahani case 1992 clarified the legal position. Keep reading what you're writing, very important. Clarified the legal position on reservation policy. In jobs. Reservation policy in jobs. Court said, court ने बोला, क्या बोला? Anyone? Did court upheld the validity of 27% reservation? Yes, write down. The court upheld. Court ने बोला सही है. Put a cap. अच्छा, write down. The court held that 27%. Court held that 27% reservation for OBCs. Court said that 27% reservation for OBCs in public employment is valid. वो सही है. Is valid constitutionally. However, court directed the state to identify creamy layer among OBCs. What is creamy layer among OBCs? Economically better. देखो, if there are 10 OBCs, there will be, let's say, 4 OBCs जो मलाई खाते हैं. 4 OBC इनमें से मलाई खाते हैं. Sir, they are rich. Therefore, they are put into creamy layer. इन्हें नहीं मिलेगी reservation. Okay? Means if your annual family income is above a particular parameter, I think it is 6 lakhs right now, then you cannot avail the reservation benefit because then you come in the creamy layer of OBC. ये क्रीमी लेयर वालों को ओबीसी रिजर्वेशन नहीं मिलेगी. ठीक है सर. ये किसने बोला? सुप्रीम कोर्ट. राइट डाउन. इट डायरेक्टेड द स्टेट टू आइडेंटिफाई द क्रीमी लेयर अमंग द ओबीसीज एंड रिमूव देम फ्रॉम द बेनिफिट ऑफ रिजर्वेशन. इनको मत दो फ्रॉम द बेनिफिट ऑफ रिजर्वेशन. नेक्स्ट, द कोर्ट हेल्ड, can state reserve more than 50% seats for backward communities? No. Tamil Nadu में है, Karnataka also. Write down. The court held that ordinarily जरूर लिख लेना. The court held that ordinary से बना है. Ordinarily the reservation in jobs, public jobs of course. Will reservation apply in private job also? In public jobs, in the favor of backward classes. Backward means, backward मतलब OBC plus SC plus ST. ठीक है? This is not socially and educationally backward. ये सिर्फ backward लिखा है मैंने आपको. Backward means OBC plus SC plus ST. In the favor of backward classes, लिख लो आप लोग, SC plus ST plus OBC cannot be more than 50% of the total seats. 50% से ज़्यादा रिजर्व मत करो seats. Now see, in Tamil Nadu this happened. Tamil Nadu, around 68% seats were reserved for Tamil Nadu. In the Tamil Nadu services were reserved for SC, ST and OBCs. Now somebody challenged, how can Tamil Nadu government reserve 68% seats for these backward communities? Then this case was given in the favor of Tamil Nadu and it was said the population composition of Tamil Nadu is such that, bhai aap ye bhi to dekho. In, for example, if there are 100 people living in a state and out of 100 people, there are 70 people who are SC, ST, OBC. Should they not get more than 50% reservation? Varna to it is better to become unreserved in these states. है कि नहीं है? The court said if the composition of these particular states like Tamil Nadu, Karnataka, the OBC's population is so high that they are justified by giving more than 50% reservation to backward classes. Understood, sir? But ordinarily नहीं देना है आपको. Okay, right. And suppose if there is only one seat, कभी कभी आती है, become the director general of so and so institute, and there is only one seat. That seat will go to SC, ST, OBC or general? SC, ST. That will be unreserved. If there is only one seat, then reservation policy will not apply. ठीक है? Let me tell you, do not become an expert on reservation policy. It should not happen that you open now internet और सब उसके बारे में पढ़ डालो. ये नहीं आता है. Only this will come. Or something which was in news. ठीक है? Do not bug yourself by this overload of information. ठीक है सर? Reservation rule पढ़ने मत बैठ जाना आज. Write down. If recruitment is for only one seat, if recruitment is only for one seat, if recruitment is only for one seat, then reservation policy will not apply. Sorry, reservation will not apply. Now this case was okay. दो लोगों को नुकसान हुआ. Two people suffered because of this case. एक तो थे कौन? जनरल नहीं, क्रीमी लेयर ओबीसीज, उनकी रिजर्वेशन छीन ली. There was another party who suffered. Which was that party? SCs and STs, they were getting reservation in promotions also. भाई entry तो अलग चीज है. Entry is only 50% game. Promotion भी तो चाहिए. They were getting reservation in promotion also. But in this case, Supreme Court gave a hit to them also. You get reservation only during entry. For promotion, you show your merit and rise up. ठीक है ना? उनसे छीन ली. Right now. Supreme Court also held that reservation allows, सिर्फ इतना लिखो, reservation allows extending the benefit. Reservation allows extending the benefit for backward classes only at, backward means SC, ST, OBC, only at entry stage. Of recruitment, but not in promotion. But not in promotion. Therefore, reservation for SCs and STs, therefore reservation for SCs and STs in promotion was declared unconstitutional, and void. ये खत्म. Now see, this is a live example. Be very alert now. This is a live example of the fact that in India, neither judiciary is supreme nor parliament is supreme. उसका example ये है. कौन सा? अभी बता रहा हूं. See, Parliament was extending reservation benefit to the backward communities. उनको दे रहा था, even in promotion. Judiciary stuck down. Judiciary said reservation in promotion is unconstitutional. वो गलत है. काट दिया. It was a blow on legislature. But then legislature कहाँ चुप बैठने वाला है? What did legislature do? Parliament, using its power, extended reservation even in promotion. उन्होंने एक लॉ बना दिया कि रिजर्वेशन प्रमोशन में भी मिलेगी only to SC, ST, not to OBC. Okay. What did judiciary do? Judiciary in this Indira Sahni case 1992, it stuck down. ये गलत है ये कानून. Okay. Judiciary ने अपना दाव खेला. Then पार्लियामेंट और लेजिस्लेचर इट रिएक्टेड. उन्होंने क्या किया बताओ सर? Parliament made a new law. Parliament made a new law which nullified the judgment. They brought 77th Amendment Act 1995. Amendment ही कर दी Constitution में. They specifically wrote in the Constitution now that from now forward, the Constitution provides for reservation to SCs and STs even in promotion. पहले लिखा नहीं था ना, but it was extended. So Supreme Court stuck their practice down. उन्होंने बोला ये चीज गलत है. तो Parliament said what? They wrote that specifically in the Constitution that from now on, even in promotions, reservation will be given to SCs and STs. And through which amendment they wrote this? 77th Amendment Act 1995. They inserted a new provision in the Constitution altogether. What was that provision? Article 16 Clause 4A. ये एक और Constitution में add कर दिया, खत्म. And now what do you think judiciary did? Judiciary ने अब judiciary will it sit quiet? बोलो. Judiciary, ध्यान से सुनो, judiciary could have stuck down the amendment. Judiciary चाहती तो इसको हटा देती. No, this is unconstitutional. We said earlier also that it should not be in promotion, but judiciary did not react and allowed this amendment in the Constitution to go ahead. ठीक है, ये जो तुमने amendment किया ये चलने दो. No problem with that. And we are having this system even now. ये जो 16 clause 4A है, it exists in the Constitution till now. My point is to tell you that there can be a tug of war between judiciary and parliament. Parliament will make a law, judiciary will nullify it. Parliament will make another law to nullify the judgment. उसे काटने के लिए एक और law बना देंगे. In a modified way, of course. Judiciary will again nullify the amendment. Parliament can again bring an amendment. There is no cap to what times they can fight with each other. But then let me tell you, I told you previously also, it is the maturity of Indian democratic system that till now this tug of war is not seen. Or if it is seen, it is only for once or twice. After that, they somehow find a compromise to agree with each other in the larger interest of the nation. वरना तो ego clash हो जाएगा ना. You scrap a law just because you want to scrap it. एक ego, if you see, you know why I'm giving so much of stress on this. Today paper also, they have written this. There was a meeting which took place between the people from judiciary as well as the legislature. And the minutes of the meeting are still not drawn, even if the meeting took place 4 months ago. Minutes of meeting you know not. For example, when we assemble somewhere, we write down what we discussed during the meeting. 4 महीने पहले meeting हुई थी, आज तक उसके minutes of meeting बने नहीं. Means the disagreement is rising up. ये question आ सकता है exam में. Who is supreme? Parliament or legislature, or how they differ? I don't know in what form it will come. But then this logic with example you have to give. That after some time they agree, चल यार ठीक है, in the larger interest of the nation, we do not make it an ego issue, and let's settle down the issue constitutionally. Judiciary did not stuck down this. वो उसको काट सकता था. Yes, petition filing is not a difficult job. I am a Supreme Court judge. I'll hint you. You are a lawyer. File a petition. अरे जॉली कितने सारे जॉली एलएलबी घूम रहे है कि नहीं है? There are so many lawyers. Write down. 16 clause 4A. Parliament reacted to the Mandal judgment. Mandal or Indira Sahni judgment, one and the same thing. Parliament reacted to the judgment by introducing Article 16 4A. 4A is to be written together. 4A. Through 77th Amendment Act 1995. Which provided for reservation in promotions for SCs and STs. Understood? I hope it is clear till now. Sir, you tell me, can residence be a ground to exclude somebody from gaining public employment? बोलो सर, yes or no? Yes. अभी आपको बताया आर्टिकल 16 क्लॉज 3. Some public jobs can be reserved only for people from particular region only, but that law will be made by parliament. ये तो था. Residence can become a ground. It's an exception to article 16 clause 1, right? Can religion also become a ground? Means can the state reserve seats in a public job on the basis of religion also? क्या लगता है आपको? Yes, yes. Article 16 clause 5. भाई ये देखो, सर यू हैव गॉन टू एनडी और नॉट? खड़गवासला गए हो ना? गए हो. तो इन दैट खड़गवासला यू सी, किसी भी इंस्टीट्यूशन को ले लो, आई मीन वेयर पीपल कम फ्रॉम ऑल द वेरियस रिलीजन्स ऑफ द कंट्री. खड़गवासला और IMA देहरादून, you have a church also, you have a temple also, you have a mosque also, you have a gurdwara also. Okay, now when you have a mosque in these institutions like this training centers for military people, what do you expect? उनको सैलरी कहाँ से मिलेगी? गवर्नमेंट ही देगी. भाई if you are running a religious institution inside a government premises, who will pay them? Government of course. But then who will manage a mosque inside NDA premises? खड़गवासला में कौन मैनेज करेगा उस मॉस्क को? A Muslim or a Hindu or a Jain can also do that. बोलो भाई, you can also learn the law. Can you not do that? Particular religion only. If you have to manage the religion institutions in specific areas which are particularly funded by state or managed by state or some other areas also, state can use religion as a ground to give jobs to only people from that religion and exclude others. Means religion can also become a ground to give public employment. Understood this or not? Bolo yes or no? Go write down. 16 clause 5 empowers the state to prescribe. Prescribe means declare. To prescribe or declare religion as a ground. अब देखो क्वेश्चन ऐसे आ सकता है, what do you feel? What should be the answer? Yes, no or cannot say? Cannot say तो ऐसे ही डाला है, yes or no का आंसर दो. बोलो yes, आंसर will be no. यही तो पॉलिटी का मजा है. बताओ सर कैसे? Why did I say no? तभी तो बोलता हूं practicing prelims questions is equally important like knowing something. हाँ जी आप बताओ. Why do you feel I wrote no? हाँ वो तो ठीक है, मगर अभी आपने लिखा that state can use religion also to provide jobs for certain people only. It is not. We are not discriminating. Then what are we doing? Protective discrimination. Or you can say protective मत बोलो. You can say देखो इसका आंसर है no. Because if I reserve a seat in public employment for a person from particular religion, it does not mean that I am discriminating against other. It means I am using a particular qualification for that job. दोनों अलग अलग चीजें हैं, दो में अपीयर सेम. डिस्क्रिमिनेशन करना अलग बात है, However, making an extra qualification for a job is a different thing. अब आप ये देखो, I told you some time back, if you want to appear for Odisha PCS, you need to know the language, Odia. Are they discriminating against you? No, but they are putting an extra qualification to appear for the exam. बात वही है, मगर we can differentiate also. You understood or not? See, we have to answer the question in pre also. If they ask you, can religion be a ground for discrimination? So this is not discrimination. It's only an added qualification to support some people's sentiment. If I use residence as a ground to give employment to particular people, this is not to discriminate against others. This is to protect the interest of that region only. आप ये देख लो, तेलंगाना, you have gone to Telangana or not? Backward right now, not very advanced. Telangana अभी उतना advanced नहीं है. And people of that region are also relatively poor. But तभी तो तेलंगाना बना है. People are also very poor of Telangana right now. It's not very advanced, also backward. In this scenario, if we reserve some position for the people from Telangana only, are we discriminating against people from UP, Bihar or Delhi or Maharashtra? No. But we are doing this to support the already poor people of Telangana so that they get into the job and they can become part of national mainstream. बात तो वही है. I can call it discrimination, but I should not call it discrimination. This is what I want to convey to you. देखने में तो डिस्क्रिमिनेशन नहीं लग रहा है, मगर वो है नहीं. So when you write that government can reserve certain jobs for people from certain religion, this is not discrimination. ये मेरा पर्पस है बताने का आपको. I hope you understood. Write down. 16 clause 5 empowers the state to prescribe religion as a ground for qualification. For recruitment of candidates. For qualification for recruitment of candidates in certain categories of public employment. You can write down example in temple, church, mosque. Or Urdu or Arabic school, which are under the administration of state. I'm giving you example. For example, Urdu or Arabic school which are under the control of state will be part of public employment, and seats can be reserved for Muslims only. Right now, Supreme Court in Nagaraj versus Union of India case, Supreme Court in Nagaraj, comics आती थी ना पहले, Nagaraj, Supreme Court in Nagaraj versus Union of India case 2006. Retaliated मतलब came up again with retaliated the reservation policy, saying that reservation policy will be valid. Reservation policy तभी ठीक होगी तब. Reservation policy will be valid only if it satisfies 5 requirements. If satisfies 5 requirements. First requirement. What is the first requirement to? Very good. The said class of citizens. पहली requirement ये है. The said class of citizens. The said मतलब somebody who is in question. The said class of citizens should be socially and educationally backward. socially and educationally backward. Next, what is the second criteria to validate the reservation policy? Sir, पहला तो ये है जिसको आप रिजर्वेशन दे रहे हो, he should be socially and educationally backward. Second criteria, very good, inadequate representation in jobs. वो लोग कम भी होने चाहिए सर्विस के अंदर. ओके, राइट डाउन. The said class should not be adequately represented in public service. See, now this is something which is controversial. Controversial means government is to take an action in this area. Representation वाली बात कर रहा हूं, right? See, somebody said, should we go ahead with the reservation policy or not? Answer was yes. Reason being, it is justified constitutionally. When court has said it is okay, then who are we to say, no, I don't agree with this. Okay. Even if you do not agree with this personally, do not write that in examination. This is what I want to say. वहाँ ये मत लिखना, नहीं, मैं तो agree नहीं करता. You may not agree, but court has agreed with that. So you should accept the wisdom of the court, first of all. Second is that you have to write some lacunas also in the prevailing reservation policy. वो लिखना पड़ेगा आपको. Because unless you write something which is gray, the answer will not have much weight. It can happen that either you justify the reservation policy or you just condemn the reservation policy. Both the approaches are wrong. You write few things which are factual also. For example, you can write that government should keep on revising the reservation policy or should introduce new classes which require support and exclude few classes which have taken support. Up, for example, take this case, STs. If you want to, I'm just giving you an example. Do not take it personally. Do not give names in examination. इस तरफ समझने के लिए. ST, you know this or not? Scheduled tribes. Now see, scheduled tribes are found in Rajasthan also. It is said that there are number of scheduled tribes community in Rajasthan. I'm taking example. One community is, you take any examination, उसका result उठा के देख लो. You will find these people always in this list. You will find them. कौन होते हैं वो? हाँ, मीना नहीं बोलते, उसे होता है मीना. Okay. Bright also, no problem with that. But the problem is not that we are giving reservation to one community. इससे कोई तकलीफ नहीं हमें. It is said they have increased their number in the service. So now it is time we should revise that what is their number in the service and think, is it not the case that they are actually occupying some space which can be given to some other communities? Example, Sahariya is also a tribe in Rajasthan, and it is said that they are not coming in the ambit of reservation. It's not that government is not extending them reservation. वो लोग आ ही नहीं पा रहे. They are still living in the remote areas, still engaged in the traditional occupation, snake charmers. So it's time we should review it, renew it, exclude few communities. I'm not saying this community. Okay, do not write the name also. सिर्फ समझाने के लिए बताया आपको. And we should bring new communities which are hitherto, अभी तक, they are living in the remote locations as well as the remote way of life also. उनको भी तो एक मौका मिलना चाहिए. Then only you can say that government has completely implemented the equality of status and opportunity. ठीक है सर, preamble में पढ़ा था ना आपने? This is it. Second, the said class is not adequately represented in the public service. Third, what is the third parameter on which reservation policy should be implemented or should not be implemented? Sir, economically तो है ही नहीं, I told you. Is anybody given reservation on the basis of economics? No. बोलो sir. हाँ, list should be updated. Efficiency. Write down. The general efficiency of administration. The general efficiency of administration is to be maintained. Means you apply reservation in such a way that efficiency is not compromised. Sir, how will you do this? How will you ensure that efficiency is not compromised? No, jobs that require higher level of skills, that also will have reservation. But what will you do? बताओ सर. एग्जाम्स तो लेते ही हैं, बट देन डोंट यू सी एग्जाम्स तो होते ही है ना. बैंक्स एंड पीओस भी. और आप सर ये देखो, डोंट यू सी दिस दैट समटाइम्स सम सीट्स आर लेफ्ट अनफिल्ड ऑल्सो. आपने देखा कि नहीं देखा? फॉर एग्जाम्पल, इफ देर वर 20 सीट्स, देन ओनली 16 गॉट फिल्ड. हैव यू सीन दिस हैपनिंग और नॉट? व्हाई दोज 4 सीट्स आर नॉट फिल्ड? कट ऑफ नहीं क्रॉस कर पाए. फॉर एग्जाम्पल, इफ यू पुट अ कट ऑफ दैट एनीबडी हु कम्स इन दिस एग्जाम, दिस सर्विस शुड गेट 6 out of 10, ये आपने कट ऑफ डिसाइड कर दी. एंड देयर वर 4 people, I mean there were only 16 people who could clear the cut off. समझ रहे हो सर? We'll take people only who have cleared the cut off, बाकी को नहीं लेंगे, even if seats are there and they are from the reserved community. So this is to maintain journal efficiency, because Supreme Court said so in Nagaraj case. You bring reservation, you implement reservation policy, but in such a way that efficiency is not compromised. And you train them also equally. तभी तो efficiency बनेगी ना. Right now. Fourth parameter is the concept of creamy layer. The concept of creamy layer should be applied on OBCs. Creamy layer apply करो अगर reservation देनी है तो. Economically within OBCs तो हम choose कर रहे हैं ना. Are we giving reservation on the basis of economics? SCBC 10% is given to general caste because they are poor. हाँ. And this is not challenged also in court of law. Recent हुआ है ना. Let it get challenged. Court will turn it down, because Tamil Nadu government is also giving reservation, 68-69% reservation. Later it was challenged. Supreme Court could have turned it down. It did not. That can happen right now also. What you were saying, government can give, but it can be declared unconstitutional later on by courts. ठीक है ना? And the last, the overall reservation of the seats. Overall reservation of the seats for backward classes. Overall reservation of the seats for backward classes should not exceed, very good, should not exceed 50% of the total seats. Article 17. How many of you actually got tired of this article? कोई तो होगा. सर कोई सॉल्यूशन नहीं है. Truly. If you're tired, you have to have coffee and then start again. There is no way out. रट्टा तो लगाना ही पड़ेगा सर इसका. बोलो. For SC ST बिल्कुल. क्या हुआ यूपी में? ऐसे नहीं बोल सकते कि सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने यूपी में कैंसिल कर दिया. ऑन व्हाट ग्राउंड्स सुप्रीम कोर्ट कैंसिल दैट इन यूपी, दैट इज टू बी नोन. समझ रहे हो आप? देयर कैन बी 1000 इफ्स एंड बट्स. अनलेस वी नो दैट, वी कैन नॉट से ऑन व्हाट ग्राउंड्स दैट वाज डन. जनरली नहीं किया था. इट वाज नॉट डन बिकॉज दिस प्रिंसिपल वाज वायलेटेड. Okay, for example, you did not follow the right rules also. When you passed a law, you did not follow the proper procedure. Sometime back, the Act was about to fall on CBI also. Supreme Court High Court was about to declare that CBI is illegal because the law by which CBI was formed was not properly signed. CBI खत्म होने वाला था. But then CBI, if it would have got scrapped, the reason would not have been the illegality of CBI per se. The reason would have been the procedure in the law making. प्रोसीजर ठीक कर दो तो सीबीआई से कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं थी कोर्ट को. समझ रहे हो? Unless you know the actual ifs and buts of the case, we cannot generalize कि इसलिए हुआ. Article 17. Which article of the Constitution is present in absolute terms? उसमें कोई ifs and buts नहीं है. Article 17 only or something else also? 21 नहीं है. Article 21 absolute or not? No. Only Article 17, which is your right against untouchability, is right down. 17 abolishes untouchability in all forms. Article 17 abolishes untouchability in all forms. The only article in the Constitution given in absolute terms, without exception. What is the definition of untouchability? What is untouchability? Untouchability is not defined, it is given in Constitution, right? Is it given in the Constitution? No. Then how do we come to know that this act is untouchability? Untouchability का मतलब क्या है? To discriminate? ये नहीं है यार untouchability definition. Anybody from that side? From? Untouchability, how will you define untouchability or what do you feel? I mean, this act is untouchability or not? कैसे पता चलेगा आपको? By example only, again, I have to keep repeating this disclaimer. Nothing said in the class is to be related to any person, living or non-living. देखो, this fellow from upper caste, ठीक है sir? This fellow from lower caste, hypothetical. Upper caste, lower caste. I am also upper caste. Now, for example, he came in front of me. I went to take bath. इनको देखते मैंने दोबारा नहाने चला गया. Is it untouchability? This is not untouchability. क्योंकि मेरे को पर्सनल खुंदक थी इनसे. I had a personal grudge against him. यार मूड खराब कर दिया इसने. If I do this against him, this will be untouchability because his birth is into a particular family which has been historically considered to be downtrodden, depressed or ठीक है ना सर. इनका जन्म, untouchability is some practice whereby you look down upon somebody only on the basis of his birth into a particular family. And that itself has been historically discriminated. ठीक है सर. बर्थ की वजह से जहां पे भेदभाव हो वो है untouchability. इनका बर्थ तो अपर फैमिली में हुआ है, so I am not doing untouchability against him because I am not doing that act because of his birth in the family. I may be doing this against him per se, individually इनके खिलाफ मैं ऐसा कर रहा हूं. Okay, and what are the acts which are defined in untouchability? Is it a list? कहीं लिखा हुआ है कि ये untouchability है? For example, he cannot touch my food, he cannot touch me, he cannot even come in front of me when I am moving on a road. कहीं नहीं लिखा हुआ है. Every action by which I show my disgust, discrimination against a person on the basis of his birth into a particular lineage, that will be untouchability. सब untouchability में आता है कि नहीं आता? For example, if I stop him from reciting Gayatri Mantra, will that be untouchability? वो भी untouchability होगा. If I do not allow him to ride a mare during marriage ceremony, that is also untouchability. ठीक है सर? Is it banned or partially banned? Completely banned or partially banned? Completely banned. Untouchability in any form, if practiced, is illegal, unconstitutional right now.
Article 70 is a modified version of Article 50. Because this untouchability is about discrimination only. So we can say it is
My dear, untouchability is about discrimination on the basis of birth in a particular community or family. Whereas वो discrimination था general, religion also, caste also, gender also, place of birth also. If you are born in Maharashtra and I practice a kind of discrimination against him, that is not untouchability. That may be regionalism, मगर उसको untouchability नहीं बोलेंगे हम लोग. Right now. Neither constitution nor parliament defined untouchability. But judiciary has defined it. As a social practice, samajik pratha, social practice. Is untouchability practiced among Christians also, Muslims also, or only in Hindus? हाँ जी, lawyer साहब, only Hindus. Muslims में untouchability होती कि नहीं होती? I am not saying so. But what Supreme Court said, I told you. Only Hindus, write down. Social practice among the Hindus, where a person solely on the basis of his birth is looked down upon and discriminated. Untouchability Offences Act 1955, which prescribes for punishment. Untouchability Offences Act 1955, which prescribes for punishment for practice of untouchability, has been renamed as, हाँ जी बोलो क्या नाम है? Civil Rights Protection Act 1976. Very good. Is untouchability gone from India? It exists severely even now, but the practice is to remove it. Is it seen only in North India, sir, or South India also? South में भी होता है. And specific type of untouchability are seen in North India and South India. For example, in Rajasthan, people from lower community, they are not allowed to ride a horse during marriage. उनको घुड़सवारी allowed नहीं है शादी के time पे. In South, they have their own style. For example, if I am a Shudra and he sees me when he is coming out, he will again go back and take a bath in the morning. अगर मैंने इनका रास्ता काट दिया फिर से नहा के आएंगे. Though I can settle a score with him, I keep on coming in front of him. और जब तक जुखाम ना हो जाए तब तक इनको नहलाता रहूँगा. But then see, the problem is that I am not suffering physically when he is going back and taking bath. The problem is that I am getting scar on my soul. When I see this person, he sees me and go back and he is taking bath, then that can create a scar on my psyche, and that will suppress my potential. Or jab, what is the purpose of fundamental rights? To help anybody achieve its potential. यही तो लिखा है आपने, that fundamental rights help people to achieve their full potential. How will I sit in the conglomeration of people like you, intellectuals, and show my full skill if personally I have the psyche inferiority complex which comes because of his behavior? इसलिए untouchability banned है. It's a very important fundamental right. Okay. Next, Article 18. छोटे नवाब भी बोलते हैं इनको. Since the day he got Padma Shri, I became the biggest fan of him. Nawab Sahab. Is it right to call him Nawab? Or is it unconstitutional to call him Nawab? अगर मैंने, if I called Saif Khan a Nawab, did I commit a crime? No. Calling him Nawab is no crime. But he himself calling Nawab is a crime. समझ रहे हो? मतलब not personally कुछ नहीं है, but legally he is not allowed to use this word Nawab, because this word Nawab or this title Nawab was given to his forefathers by Britishers. Now Britishers gone, whatever titles they gave to these people, they also took it with them. Free India, the government will not give any title to anyone. समझ रहे हो? In free India, everybody is alike. Nobody will have any special title, whether it is Nawab, Rai Sahab, Maharaj, Kuwar, War, kuch nahi. They might be using it, but that is illegal. And even the Padma Award, you know, Padma Award, there's a controversy because sometime Janta government, they banned it. Padma Award, you know or not, sir? बताओ कौन से हैं Padma Award? यही Padma Shri, Padma Bhushan, Padma Vibhushan, and Bharat Ratna also. Can I use this? I mean, if I get Bharat Ratna, can I write in front of my name Bharat Ratna Ashish Kumar? No. I might be having that certificate in my home, but I cannot use that. और अपने घर के बाहर भी नहीं लिख सकता. I cannot, you know, put a name plate, Bharat Ratna so and so, Padma Shri so and so. No. There was a Tamil actor. I think he was from Hyderabad. I'm forgetting his name also. He used this prefix in front of him, Padma Shri so and so. I'm not able to recall his name, Mohan Babu or something. What? Ramanand. Ramanandam. Acha, Brahmanandam, theek hai. Brahman. He used this name. I mean, this was in news, no, last year. Padma Shri. He wrote Padma Shri so and so in front of his house with a nameplate, and he also used to write letters citing this name, Padma Shri Brahmanand. Suddenly he got a notice that if you do this, action will be, in fact, action was initiated against him, and he apologized for that. Understanding or not? Any title which is given to you cannot be used by you as a prefix or suffix with your name. However, the title is not a title to you. That's only a recognition to your work for the particular area. For example, when he did excellent, fabulous work in the field of cinema, he is given Padma Shri. ठीक है ना सर? इसलिए उसको दिया. But then he cannot use that Padma Shri. लिखेगा नहीं वो कहीं पे भी. ठीक है सर? Right now. Article 18 prohibits the state. Article 18 clause 1. That is only relevant. 18 clause 1 prohibits the state from conferring any title, कोई भी title, but then we say doctor so and so. वैसे engineer तो कोई नहीं बोलता, but doctor so and so and colonel so and so. पहले ही बताओ colonel वर्नल. Why they use this? Is this allowed? Yes, it is allowed because that is. Or can I write Paramveer Chakra so and so? In army I can, because it is a kind of military distinction which the state has given to me. Military has recognized my good service and bravery. That's why this title was given to me, and I can use this. Write down. Prohibits the state from conferring any title in the form of, except in the form of military or academic distinction. Doctor is an academic distinction, so you can use it. Article 18 clause 1 prohibits the state from conferring any title except military or academic distinction. National awards के बारे में भी लिख लो. Padma awards are also called as national awards. Write down 2 lines on that also. National awards, also known as Padma awards, are regarded as decorations and not titles. Padma Shri, Padma Bhushan, this is only decoration. It's not a title given to them. And the awardee is not allowed. And the awardee is not allowed. Means somebody who got it, awardee is not allowed to use it as a suffix or prefix. As a suffix means after the name. As a suffix or prefix with their name. They are regarded as to fit within, they are regarded as to fit within the meaning of, academic distinction. Supreme Court held that national awards are not violative. National awards are not violative of right to equality. Very good. Right to equality. Because right to equality does not mandate that merit should not be recognized. That merit, M-E-R-I-T, merit should not be recognized. After fundamental rights, I'll try to take DPSP, and after that I'll take a subtopic from governance, role of civil services in democracy. That will not have any article. Okay, so be relaxed. This torture will go for only 2 more days. But then see, do not be phobic of these things. इनसे डरने से कुछ नहीं होगा. This is part and parcel of polity, and polity is part and parcel of GS. And if you have to clear the exam and actually have some benefit of the 1 lakh rupee fees which you paid, then you please mug up. और कोई चारा भी नहीं है. And the best way is to relate them with what is happening in news. सबसे बढ़िया तरीका वो है. For example, when JNU episode was going on and on for so many days, Article 19, Clause 1, Subclause A was in news. Freedom of speech and expression इतना आ रहा था. This would have actually committed this thing to your mind. Some time back, untouchability was also in news. In Rajasthan, there were some instances of untouchability. They were in news. Explicitly it was there, Article 17. तो वहीं से याद हो जाएगा. ठीक है ना? Do not mug up mechanically. Relate that thing with something in current affairs and it automatically वो याद हो जाएगा. But then there will be few articles which may not come in the news, but they are important. For example, Article 14 or Article 15. They might not use the Article 14, 15, but exam में आ सकता है. Better is that you discuss these things with your friends. Polity is, what can I say, one of the most important pillars of GS. And if you have to cross this particular hurdle, then you have to be an expert. If not an expert, you have to be very easy, comfortable in polity. Or the best way is to discuss the things among your friends. एक आध अच्छा group बनाओ, 3-4 people in the group who are serious about studies. Discuss them. For example, you can throw questions. उनसे एकदम से पूछो. Article 15, Clause 2, ऐसे. But then the person should be able to answer. Similarly, he should also ask you questions. And this way, you see the result yourself. Otherwise, if you sit and you start mugging up, you will feel bored. यार कहाँ ये article वो. Or you can do when you make synopsis. इसके synopsis बनाओ. You make summary of these things. You give 1 word heading to every article. That will also help you mug up the things. Put them like a chart in your almirah or wall, whatever. When you are, for example, brushing or shaving, or कभी-कभी WhatsApp करते-करते भी देख लिया करो. Then, कभी भी time मिले. Slowly, you have whole 1 year. Slowly, this will get to your mind, and then that will be fructification of your preparation and the labor which you are putting right now also. ठीक है ना? Right now. स्टेट ने नहीं दिए मैं उनको, ठीक है ना. फॉर एग्जाम्पल इफ सम मदरसा, अब आप सर लगा लो, यू कॉल मी सर और नॉट. इज दिस आर्टिकल, इज दिस टाइटल गिवन टू मी बाय द स्टेट? नो. आर्टिकल 19, व्हाट इज द अम्ब्रेला टर्म फॉर आर्टिकल 19? हाँ जी आप बताओ क्या है आर्टिकल 19? फ्रीडम. फ्रीडम ऑफ स्पीच नहीं, फ्रीडम्स. 6 फ्रीडम्स. आर्टिकल 19 जो था, इट वॉज राइट टू फ्रीडम. 6 डिफरेंट टाइप ऑफ फ्रीडम्स आर देयर. इनको याद करने का तरीका. व्हाट इज आर्टिकल 19 क्लॉज 1 सब क्लॉज ए? Speech and expression. 19(1)(b). To speak, you have to assemble also. अकेले में बोलने का क्या फायदा? This is freedom to assemble. Do not write, just see here. 19(1)(c). To speak, you have to assemble, and when you assemble, you form association. Now, getting associated in one place is very boring, so let's move in the whole group. Movement. You were in Maharashtra, you moved to Karnataka, move करते करते. Now reaching Karnataka, you got tired. फिर क्या चाहोगे? Settle down. (19)(1)(f) was right to property, which has been removed from the list of fundamental rights by which amendment? 44th or 42nd? 44th Amendment Act 1978. उसको हटा दिया गया. So 1F gone and 1G is, आप कहीं सेटल हो गए हो. When you have settled, you need some job or not? That is vocation, job. This way you can mug up these things. Article 19 confers 6 democratic freedoms to citizens or to everyone. This is available to citizen or to everyone? Citizens only. Otherwise, Pakistani people, they will form associations here. They will keep moving. Okay. Confer 6 democratic rights on citizens. 19(1)(a) guarantees to all citizens. 19 clause 1 sub clause A guarantees to all citizens right to speech and expression. Is remaining silent a kind of expression also? वो तो बहुत बड़ा expression है कि नहीं सर? If somebody is not talking to you for the last 4 days, is an expression or not? Tension भी हो जाएगी. It itself is a sign of something very wrong, grossly wrong, right? अब ये हमने कैसे किया? We interpreted it. Keeping mum is also a kind of my right of speech and expression. This is not written in the constitution, but we interpreted it. Patang udana, sir, is related to your right of speech and expression or not? Bolo yes or no? Yes. Bhai hai, today I am very happy. 15th August, I want to express my love for my country by flying the tricolor. And I am participating in a sports called as, in Hindi, Patangbaji. This is true. ये मजाक में नहीं बोल रहा, सच है. participating in a sport, in any sport, of course, a legal sport, in any sport is kind of my right, which has realized because I also have freedom of speech and expression. When I am participating in a sport, I am expressing myself or not. Sultan express himself or not by wrestling. He has so much of power. Jhanda Fehrana, flag hoisting. By Jindal, Naveen Jindal, he has an office, I mean near to our house only, he had this office and he hoisted the flag. And somebody filed a complaint that as per the rules related to national flag, you cannot hoist a flag in a private premises, and when he is doing so, he has violated these particular codes of national flag and he has bring disrespect to the nation. And charge was slapped on him. Then he went to Supreme Court. He said, what wrong if I hoisted the flag at my home or at my office? And Supreme Court also said, nothing wrong with you hoisting the flag. Jhanda fehrane mein koi problem nahi hai. Because when you hoist the flag at your home also, you are expressing yourself or your love for your country. If you have so much love for America, which flag you will hoist? American or not? But then thankfully you are not doing this. You are hoisting the flag of India. Only you are expressing your love and affection for the country. And you have the right. Nobody can stop you. So Supreme Court ne bola, what Naveen Jindal did is right. Though it was, let me tell you, it was illegal till that point of time. You could not hoist these flags, and there were so much of rules and regulations also. Supreme Court relaxed those rules and regulations after Naveen Jindal case. Understood, sir? Because they acknowledged that hoisting the flag is an expression in itself, which is a fundamental right under Article 19 clause. Okay. Press. I am running a press. Is it not kind of my fundamental right? Let me tell you, these are derived fundamental rights. Okay, इन्हें बोलते हैं derived fundamental right. Means they were not fundamental right as it is in Constitution, but Supreme Court interpreted them as part of any other fundamental right. ठीक है ना? For example, when I am running a press. Press means printing press. Okay, वो वाली press नहीं स्त्री. This is printing press. When I am running printing press, is it not my part of freedom of speech and expression? Because through my press, I can express what I feel. वो मैं छापूंगा उसके अंदर. Getting me or not? So these are all part of 19(1)(a) and they have been interpreted. अब ये देखो, who is doing these interpretations? That participating in sports is part of speech and expression. Hoisting the flag is part of speech and expression. Running a press is part of speech and expression. कौन बोलता है ये आपको? Supreme Court. Supreme Court has interpreted Article 19 so liberally. 19(1)(a) particularly, उसको इतना liberally उसने interpret किया है that it has this single freedom has given birth to so many other freedoms. Right to information. That is also a kind of derived fundamental right under speech and expression. Because how will I express myself unless I have the information with me? I asked him whether I am a good person or not. Will he say good or bad just like that? No. He will ask me, पहले information बताओ. What is your background, this and that. Then only he will take a stance. So unless you have this right to access information from state, how can you express yourself? So right to information is also a kind of derived fundamental right under Article 19(1)(a). Since you have this right to express yourself freely as a fundamental right, you also have a right to ask for information from state. And therefore only state came out with RTI Act. ठीक है sir? Right now. Defamation is also kind of expression only. Through speech, I can express my displeasure towards you. Defame कर रहा हूँ और नहीं कर रहा हूँ? By appreciation and depreciation, both are speech or not? And when I appreciate you or I depreciate you, I am expressing my attitude towards you. But then depreciating somebody is not allowed openly. What defamation का charge लग जाएगा? Right now. Article 19(1)(a), Article 19 clause 1 clause A guarantees to all citizens right of speech and expression. After Article 21, लिखो after Article 21, Article 19(1)(a has undergone most liberal interpretation. 21 और 19(1)(a) को खूब इंटरप्रेट किया सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने. Has undergone most liberal interpretation at the hands of Supreme Court. At the hands of Supreme Court. Supreme Court held that 19(1)(a) is an inalienable मतलब नॉन सेपरेबल, inalienable adjunct to right to life. भाई right to life will not realize unless you have right 19(1)(a. जब तक स्पीच एंड एक्सप्रेशन का वो नहीं है, what will I do with right to life? जी के क्या करूंगा अगर मैं अपना मुंह नहीं खोल पाया तो? This is what Supreme Court said. Okay, is an inalienable adjunct to right to life. Right to freedom of speech and expression. Right to freedom of speech and expression. You can use short forms also. Right to freedom of speech and expression को S and E लिख लो. Speech and expression have the following meanings. लिखो sir. Have the following meanings. First, flag hoisting, national flag hoisting. Is hoisting a Pakistani flag also illegal in India? वो illegal है? हाँ? मगर intentionally it can become. Huh? One person who was hoisting was arrested. Yes, he was arrested. And then is he in prison right now also? Why I am discussing this? This was a debate. पीछे थोड़े दिन पहले चल रहा था ये. Some people, when they were hoisting the flag of Pakistan in Kashmir, actions were taken against them. And it was said that they were actually carrying out activity which was seditious. State के against है. Then this debate came. Is hoisting the flag of some other country, particularly Pakistan, is unconstitutional or not? Yes, until and unless it is affecting the integrity of this country, it is not. Just hoisting the flag may not be unconstitutional. However, if that is actually symbolic of your hate towards India, then it is. समझ रहे हो? Appreciating Pakistan is no problem. But appreciating Pakistan to convey your dissatisfaction or disaffection towards India can be seditious. समझ में आया? Right now. National flag hoisting is also a way of expressing oneself. So it is constitutional. As per Jindal versus Union of India case 2004. Sports is also expression of oneself. Sports is also expression of oneself. So participation in sports is constitutional. Third point, right to speech and expression. Right to speech and expression includes right of a citizen to express views and opinions of others. as a fundamental right. From this right of freedom of press originated. Is political dissent also a fundamental right of yours? Political dissent, you know or not? When Aam Aadmi Party is criticizing the policies of Congress, Congress criticizing the policies of BJP, and vice versa, is this the fundamental right of an MP or MLA or even yours? Right to political dissent is also kind of derived fundamental right. Matlab political dissent means government came up with a policy, you criticized it. That can also be your fundamental right. Because ye hai multi-party democracy. In democracy, if you do not have the right to dissent, dissent means to disagree, then there is no democracy. Okay, right now. It includes right to political dissent. D-I-S-S-E-N-T. Dissent means to disagree or to reject. It also includes right to political dissent, that is, right to differ from the views of government. Right to multi-party democracy. Right to multi-party democracy. These things are very important, let me tell you. Every bit can become a question in itself. Nothing will be given to you which is irrelevant here. Right to multi-party democracy originates from this article only. Question आ भी चुका है इसके ऊपर. This article only. You have right to speech and expression in India. Tomorrow when you go to Bangladesh, will you have this right with you? Of course, with respect to Indian government, I am saying. Bhai, aap batao. When you go to Bangladesh, will you have this right with you? These are what? Fundamental rights. Fundamental rights आपके साथ चिपके हुए हैं. You go to Bangladesh, or you go to America, or you go to any other place. These rights are with you only. Remember this. Because fundamental rights are not given to you by the foreign country. They are given to you by Indian country, Indian state. And they will be with you even if you cross the boundaries. Right to life है आपके पास in India. When you cross the boundary of India and you enter into, let's say, America, can state send somebody and get you killed? No. Right to life तो तब भी रहेगा ना आपके पास. This is it. These fundamental rights are available not only when you are here in this country, they are available even when you move across. But of course, these fundamental rights will be with respect to Indian government. I am not saying that you will get them by the external power also. No. Indian state will keep giving you these fundamental rights even when you move outside. So, understood, sir? Right now. These rights are not limited by boundary of the country, and citizens enjoy them, even while traveling abroad. बाहर जाते टाइम भी उन्हीं के साथ हैं. Next point, 19(1)(a). 19(1)(a) also means freedom to speech and expression, also means the right to have access to information. But it is only right to information. It is only RTI Act, which year? 2005. It is only RTI Act 2005 which tells us how to access the information. 19(1)(a), you have restrictions on that or not? On what grounds can I restrict your freedom of speech and expression? You have this right to hoist the flag, sir. He has this right to hoist the flag, and he is hoisting the Pakistani flag when we are having a war with Pakistan. Can I restrict his freedom? Yes. पता चला there is a news that an Indian fighter plane it crashed at the hands of Pakistani fighter plane और ये झंडा लहरा रहे हैं. अरेस्ट हो जाएंगे नहीं हो जाएंगे? Write down grounds of restriction. Grounds of restrictions. Freedom of speech and expression. Freedom of speech and expression can be restricted on the grounds of. Can be restricted on the grounds of security and sovereignty of India. Security and sovereignty of India. For example, under right to information, he cannot ask me the sensitive information regarding Indian defense. Okay, he cannot ask me because that is related to defense and security and sovereignty of India. यही अभी आपने लिखा है. Security and sovereignty of India, comma, maintenance of public order. Friendly relations with other country. Comma, morality. Few words are banned in public or not, sir? Because of this only. And decency, of course. Decency. (19)(1)(b) guarantees right to assemble. Very good. Including right to hold meetings and carry out procession, jalus nikalna in a procession. You know that some time back there was an incident in Uttar Pradesh. Subhash Sena. Are a number of people got killed or not? Even an SP got killed. Many people assembled. कौन से बाग में assemble हुए थे वो? Jawahar Bagh. Many people got assembled in one of the locality called as Jawahar Bagh. Was there fundamental right to assemble there? Yes, that was their fundamental right to assemble. But then they violated their own fundamental right when they brought weapons with them. You can assemble, but you cannot assemble with weapons. Okay, ये नहीं कि डंडे लेके और कट्टे लेके आ रहे हैं. No, you can assemble, but only in peaceful way. Right? लिखो. Guarantees right to assemble to all the citizens, including right to hold meetings and take processions, but only in peaceful ways. I was discussing Article 18. Can you accept a title from France? आप accept कर सकते हो title? Yes. You can accept the title from a foreign country also, provided you have the permission from this state. ठीक है? हाँ. But then suppose you got title, can you use that also with your name? वो नहीं allowed है. With or without permission, you cannot use the title. ठीक है ना? पता चला Pakistan gave you title Shane Pakistan. You are happy. But then you cannot irritate us by using that title in front of us. Next. Article 19(1)(c). Guarantees right to form association Is cooperative society also a kind of association? है क्या? Question आ गया, do you have this fundamental right to form cooperative society? Yes or no? Yes. And it was introduced later on. Write down. 19(1)(c) guarantees right to form association of any type. Which amendment act gave you the right to form cooperative society as your fundamental right, sir? Anyone? किस amendment से हमने ये डाला था? Which amendment act brought this right to form cooperative society as your fundamental right to form association? 97th Amendment Act. Write down. 97th Amendment Act. 97. 2011. Brought the right to form cooperative society also in this ambit. (19)(1)(c) includes do you have fundamental right to form political associations? ये fundamental right है आपका? आम आदमी पार्टी बना दी आपने. Is it a fundamental right? Yes. अभी मैंने लिखा है any type. You can form any association of any type, including political associations or trade union. Forming a trade union, क्या लगता है आपको? Is it a fundamental right? Yes. Write down. It includes right to form political association and right to form trade union. Now when you have formed trade union, ये तो होगा ही होगा. Once you have formed trade union, this will happen. What will happen? Protest नहीं, strike. You had fundamental right to form trade union. और हर सारी trade union क्या कराती हैं सर? Do you have fundamental right to strike also? No. No. Answer है no. Strike is an expression, but that may be your right also, but not fundamental right. समझ रहे हो? अब I had a grudge against him. मन तो करता था कि I settle the score, I express myself, but is it allowed? No. It can go against his right. I went on strike. Will it not hamper the whole system? Auto union, for example, they went on strike. So many people will suffer. So right to strike is not a fundamental right, though it is a legal right. Write down. However, right to form trade union, does not imply, these questions come in exam, does not imply having a fundamental right to strike. Does not imply having a fundamental right to strike. Though it may be legal right. Legal right to hai. This is a legal right. I told you the difference between legal right and constitutional rights. बताया था ना आपको मैंने. But not a fundamental right. Though it may be a legal right, but not a fundamental right. Right to strike may be a legal right, not a fundamental right. But right to form trade union is fundamental right. ठीक है ना? Now see, a higher version of strike is, क्या होता है वो? बंद. बंद, you know or not? आज बंद है, भारत बंद, दिल्ली बंद, ये बंद, वो बंद. Is बंद also allowed? No. Why not? बंद और स्ट्राइक में बहुत बड़ा फर्क होता है. फॉर एग्जाम्पल, टुडे इज दिल्ली बंद एंड यू वांट टू गो टू योर ऑफिस और यू वांट टू गो टू हॉस्पिटल and on the way you are being stopped. Have you ever seen this kind of have you ever seen this thing? This happens. You want to reach the hospital. You have a patient who is lying on the deathbed, but you are not being allowed. जबरदस्ती आपको रोक लेंगे. And if you try, they will kill you also. Bandh. Bandh has an element of force. In democracy, force shown by people, that too unreasonable, has no place. Supreme Court said bandh is illegal. Strike legal है, but bandh क्या है? वो तो illegal ही है. Okay, write down. Supreme Court in 1998 held that the case is not important. CPI versus Bharat Kumar case. No need to write that. 1998 held that bandh or shut down, because they use the word bandh, so I am also using the word bandh, is illegal. Since it involves an element of force and disturbs public order Hartal, this is legal or illegal? Legal. Strike is only called as hartal. Okay. I use the word because in this case Supreme Court used the word hartal. ठीक है ना? So a question can come. हड़ताल ही लिख दिया उन्होंने इंग्लिश में. Then do not think no strike was legal. हड़ताल is illegal. Strike is only हड़ताल. Okay. Next. Right to form association. Is it available to security forces also? Right to form association, is it available with security forces? For example, can military people form an association and go and strike? War ho rahi hai and they say no, we are at strike. No. Let me tell you, they have this right to form association. But Parliament can regulate that. Parliament can restrict that. समझ रहे हो? Constitutionally, they also have this right to form association. However, using their powers, Parliament has put a restriction on the right to form association. Parliament ने deny कर दिया उनको ये right. ठीक है ना? Constitution gave it to Parliament, but you decide which security forces people can form association. And Parliament put a ban on rights of certain security forces to form association, and police is one of them. Right now. Article 33, 33 empowers the Parliament. Article 33 empowers the Parliament empowers the Parliament. Article 33 empowers the Parliament to impose a restriction on the right to form association available to security forces. Using this power, available to security forces in the interest of nation. You write that also. Available to security forces in the interest of nation or security of nation, whatever. Using this, Parliament passed Army, Navy, Air Force, Police Act and denied right to form association to these forces. As per Supreme Court, Supreme Court कह रहा है, as per Supreme Court, even civil servants associated with security forces do not enjoy right to form Political association. Political association. वन डी क्या है? What is 1D? Movement. ठीक है ना? Assembly, association, now movement. Sir, can you move throughout any part of India? हाँ जी, क्या लगता है आपको? Can you move throughout any part of India? ये तो yes बोल रहे हैं. Yes, except. हाँ, कौन कौन से हैं वो इलाके? असम, मेघालय, अरुणाचल, ऐसे नहीं बोलना है. राइट डाउन. सही है, बट राइट डाउन. गारंटीज, आर्टिकल 19 1D guarantees the right to move freely throughout India. You know this thing, sometime back there is a place called as Andaman Nicobar, and there is a place in Andaman where a particular tribe which are called as this Jaravas. Jaravas is a kind of tribe. They are a tribe. They live in a particular part of Andaman. Tourists were going, there was a road, tourists were going there and they were giving food to Jaravas. In fact, there was a video in which it was shown that a tourist was handing over some food and he asked them, please dance. And he danced, the Jarava tribe, he danced also. And they filmed it and they were taking like an entertainment. Is it not actually you are making fun of somebody's dignified life? Because other person does not know that why he is dancing, or I mean he's just making fun of him. So after that, this case was taken up by Supreme Court and they directed the government ensure, though actually as per rules they were not allowed to go to that place also, but then people were going as a point of tourist interest. Supreme Court directed the government that in future this road should be closed permanently so that nobody actually goes into the area inhabited by Jaravas. Because when external people are entering into the areas which is inhabited by an primitive tribe, primitive matlab bade purane, then you are disturbing their way of life. Pandit Nehru also wanted an arrangement, political arrangement, where we do not disturb them, the tribes which are isolated from us. However, if they want, we have created opportunities, they are most welcome, they can take the benefit of the development which is taking place in the mainstream. But we will not go intentionally and disturb them. ये पंडित नेहरू की पॉलिसी थी of integrating them in their own style, the tribals. But 19 you say, I have right of freedom of speech and expression. I read last month in polity and I can go in any area. No, you can go into any part of India provided you are not disturbing the security of India, you are not disturbing the public order, or you are also not disturbing the interest of scheduled tribes. Apart from these three things, you can move to any place. You want to enter into a particular area of Kashmir, you might be stopped. Reason? Security. You want to enter inside Chandipur, rockets are launched from there or not, you will not be allowed. Security. So, information leak ho jayegi. You want to go into area of Jarava, not allowed. Scheduled tribes. Sometime back, sometime ke abhi bhi, there is a demand in some states of Northeast. This system exists. Inner line permit. Inner line permit means if you have to enter inside a particular state, you of Northeast only, and they have applied this ILP system. Inner line permit, it is called as. This was also very much in news last year, though now it is not coming up, but last year it was in news, and now UPSC has got this habit that they may ask you something which was in news last year also. पूछ सकते हैं आपसे. ILP is a kind of a system whereby if you enter into a particular state of Northeast or even Kashmir, as far as I know ILP exists, if you have to enter inside, you have to take permission, take a pass, and that too you can go only up to an extent. Beyond that you cannot go, and you cannot settle also, and you have to come back within a particular time frame. So then you can feel that my right to free movement is restricted. भाई मैं तो वहाँ जाना चाहता था, but I was not allowed. and I have to come back within a particular time also. Other states of Northeast are also saying, yeah, we also want ILP. Reason? Interest of scheduled tribes. Though they are also citing the loss of vocation also, because they feel when people from outside they come, they settle down and they also sell, or they actually take part in economic activity. In Northeast, economic activity is already not much, and over to that, if people will come from outside, they will take away all the traditional economic activity which they have been doing. इसलिए ILP लगा हुआ है. That is justified for that reason, to protect the interest of scheduled tribes. Okay, write down. 19(1)(d) guarantees right to move freely throughout India. The word freely means that the right of the citizen, keep reading what you're writing, the right of a citizen to move whenever and wherever he wants, he can. However, it can be restricted on the grounds of security, 3 grounds: security, public order, and the interest of scheduled tribes. Article 19(1)(e). What is it, sir? Settlement. Very good, write down. 19(1)(e) guarantees to all the citizens freedom of residence and settlement. Residence and settlement. 19(1)(f). What is it? Vocation, yes sir, right to property. Write down this also. Though it is not a fundamental right, but right also. 19(1)(f). Right to property got removed along with Article 31. There was an Article 31 also previously. Usko bhi hata diya. That was also right to property. 19(1)(f) along with Article 31 got removed. Both were right to property only. Got removed from the list of FRs and made a constitutional legal right. Now they are all not fundamental rights, only constitutional legal rights, and made constitutional legal rights under which article? Under Article 300A. Now right to property is in Constitution under Article 300A, but it is not fundamental right. Okay. Removed under which amendment, sir? Right to property 19(1)(f) and 31 were removed from the list of fundamental right through 44th Amendment Act 1978. 1G, 19(1)(g). Guarantees right to vocation. Is it restricted, sir? Right to vocation? Of course it is. Right to vocation restricted है कि नहीं है? ठीक है सर? जैसे कि for example, right to, an example sir, right to vocation restriction on that. भाई you have the right to vocation. ये गलत example हुआ. Reservation. Right to vocation. You can take up any job you want. However, restrictions उस पे भी लग सकती है. जैसे reservation is not a restriction on your right to vocation, sir. Reservation is not a restriction on anybody's right to vocation. It is justified also. Under which article? Article 14, 16 clause 4. ठीक है ना? 15 clause 4. Anyways, example दो sir. How do I put restriction on right to vocation, or why should I put? Drug trafficking, बहुत बढ़िया. But he knew only one vocation, how to carry drugs from here to there and there to here. But that is detrimental to public order or not? So that can be restricted. अव्वल दर्जे का कसाई हूं मैं, butcher. You know what he does? I cannot slaughter a bull below the age of 16. Bulls की एज ही बता रहा हूं मैं, okay? Below the age of 16. Supreme Court said so. Okay, I'm not creating a hypothetical example. Supreme Court in one of the judgment said, yes, you have the right of vocation. You are a butcher. You can kill a bull, but then if he's below the age of 16, you cannot. Means you can carry out any vocation, but every vocation will have certain ifs and buts that are to be. Because this was again in news. When you put a ban on slaughter of cow, then this right to vocation was called in question. ठीक है ना? Right now. 19(1)(g) guarantees the right to vocation, that is a profession or a trade of one's choice. State can impose restrictions on it. By even completely banning a profession, or taking away, or sorry, not taking away, taking over मतलब खुद कब्जा जमा लेना, or taking over a business or trade partially or completely in public interest. In public interest. Which example will come here? Bank nationalization. By banks were nationalized or not? I was running bank. Government took away from me. Why? Because of this only. Because of freedom, right to vocation is also coming up with restrictions. Because when I was running the bank, I was not giving loans to poor people. So it was not in the interest of the public. So government took over my bank, and this was not a violation of my right to vocation. यही आपने लिखा है, right sir? And the last article for today. Fundamental right is the longest part. After that, it will not take much time. ठीक है sir? Article 20. Write down. What is Article 20? Anyone? बोलो. That is only one part, na? By Indian state has coercive power or not? State has coercive power or not? Yes or no? Coercive power means the power to punish you. But then Constitution has given you some powers so that you can protect yourself against what? Against the punishing power of state. State has the power to punish you, but Constitution has given the fundamental rights to you so that you can protect yourself against the punishing power of state. और वो कहां पे mentioned है? Article 20. Write down. Very important and interesting also. Article 20 provides three types of protection. Three types of protection for an individual against the coercive power of state. Against the coercive powers of state means punishing power of the state. First, Article 20 clause 1, only 3 articles are there, don't worry. Article 20 clause 1, what is it? 21 क्या है सर बताओ? 21 नहीं, 20 clause 1, tell me. डबल नहीं है यार. Ex post facto. Ex post facto means पीछे जाना. Don't you ever wish that I can go to my childhood ex post facto and correct many things which I did wrongly that time? है कि नहीं है? एग्जाम में रिजल्ट सब चेंज कर दो. Is it possible? No. Going back and applying a action is not allowed in life as well as in constitution. इसे कहते हैं सर ex post facto. See, today date is 25th July 2016. You commit an action. आपने कोई एक्शन कमिट किया, ओके, विच इज नॉट अ क्राइम टुडे. आज वो क्राइम नहीं है. On 30th of July, state comes up with a law which says that this action is a crime. Can you be now punished because somebody has got a recording that he did so on 25th? नहीं, ऐसा नहीं हो सकता. Reason being, if you committed an action on a day which was not a crime that day, then state tomorrow cannot make a law and punish you retrospectively. पीछे आके आपको punish नहीं कर सकता. In which case this was in news. Juvenile justice. The one of the accused, he was about to turn 18, but luckily for himself, he was only 17 years and few months old the time he committed the rape on that girl in Delhi. Right? Therefore, I mean, there was a voice, a big voice. Justice Verma committee was forming some rules that in future, if this kind of action takes place, how are we going to deal with it? Because juveniles were carrying out this act repeatedly. So this thing came that, see, you have formed Justice Verma committee, agreed, बहुत अच्छी बात है. But then even if Justice Verma committee gives any recommendation, you cannot apply a law retrospectively. Agar tomorrow Justice Verma committee says that even a juvenile who commits a heinous crime should be treated like an adult, now that is a law. Abhi to wo law hai. Today, if there is a juvenile who commits a heinous crime like this, then he will be treated like an adult. और उसको leniency नहीं मिलेगी. But the time when he committed the rape, that was not a law. So using today's laws, we cannot punish this fellow. Understood or not? जब उसने वो काम किया था, तब वो law नहीं था. That we should punish even a juvenile like an adult. So he got free. पीछे जाके आप कानून अप्लाई नहीं कर सकते. Criminal legislation. Understood? Right now. Under Article 20 Clause 1, the state is prohibited from enacting ex post facto criminal legislation. Remember, criminal legislation. Civil में हो सकता है criminal. Ex post facto means enacting a law, एक law बनाना, and giving it retrospective effect. Giving it retrospective. It is opposite of prospective. पीछे जाना. Under 20 clause 1, under Article 20 clause 1, no man shall be convicted. Under Article 20 clause 1, no man shall be convicted and sentenced for an act which was not a criminal act. At the time of its commissioning. जब वो काम किया गया था, at the time of its commissioning. आर्टिकल 20 क्लॉज 2, दो और बचे। डबल जेपर्डी का मतलब समझ लो। डबल जेपर्डी मीन्स सर डबल पिटाई। देखो, write 2 lines on it and then I'll tell you. Article 20 clause 2 prohibits the state from practicing. Article 20 clause 2 prohibits the state from practicing double jeopardy. Jeopard, double jeopardy. Anyone, what is the meaning of double jeopardy? बताओ सर, बताओ। Nobody can be punished more than one for the same offense. ये है double jeopardy. अब एक बात बताओ, you cheated in exam in school, caught, वहां पे पिटाई हुई, the teacher gave you a good beating, you came back home, father came to know, और डायरी में लिख के देते ना, he was caught cheating. Father also came to know, or diary you have to get it signed also. Father came to know about that. He will pick a stick. Now will you say, no, I have already taken the beating there, now you cannot apply double jeopardy on me. दो बार पिटाई नहीं हो सकती। ऐसा कह सकते हो आप? No. But then he is right also. Nobody can be punished for the same crime more than once in the court of law. In court of law, you cannot be punished more than once. But then there are other places where all from you get punishment. समझ रहे हो सर? For example, you are a senior officer. You caught taking bribe. इन्हें bribe लेते पकड़ा गया. You came home. What will be the repercussion? Of course, if you are married, वहीं से शुरू हो जाएगी. That day, your wife will give you a beating. Then next day, when you go office, क्या होगा? Department will hand over you the letter to you, pink slip. जाओ. You are suspended. समझ रहे हो सर? See this thing. चलो डोमेस्टिक वायलेंस को छोड़ दो. द डिपार्टमेंट सस्पेंडेड यू फॉर टेकिंग ब्राइब. नाउ इज इट द एंड ऑफ योर सफरिंग? नो, बिकॉज सी टिल नाउ यू हैव नॉट मेट द कोर्ट ऑफ लॉ. अभी तो वहां से पनिशमेंट आनी बाकी है. यू कैन नॉट बी पनिश्ड मोर देन वंस इन अ कोर्ट ऑफ लॉ, बट इन अदर एरियाज यू कैन गेट पनिश्ड. If he is getting dismissed by the department for committing an act which is illegal, that is okay. But then court will also give him punishment. But court दो बार punishment नहीं दे सकता इनको. Understanding or not? And it will not also happen that, for example, when his case went to High Court gave him a punishment. Then the same court, when it went to Supreme Court also gave the punishment, and both will go together. No, that is not the case. Once court of law will punish you, not twice. But then there will be other areas where you will be punished. For example, your department will also dismiss you from service because your department is not court of law. ठीक है सर? Write down. Double jeopardy means no person. Double jeopardy means no person shall be punished more than once in a court of law for commissioning means committing, for commissioning of a single offense. However, if a civil servant is removed or dismissed from service, however, if a civil servant is removed or dismissed from service, the purpose of dictating is so that you can read also while you are writing. ठीक है? So please keep reading also. Dismissed from service by his department on the basis of his criminal conviction, saza, because on the basis of his criminal conviction in a court of law, then it does not amount to what? Double jeopardy. ये double jeopardy नहीं होगी तब. When will double jeopardy happen? Yes, when the same court or different courts punish you for the single crime more than once. तब double jeopardy होगी, which is not allowed. And the last article for today. Article 20 clause 3. What is Article 20 clause 3? Hanji. Yes, if you have to remember few articles, you can remember using some clue. Okay, जैसे in double jeopardy you can remember double jeopardy का रुस्तम लिख लेना. Movie is about to release. Here you can write this happened in the case of Mr. N.D. Tiwari. You know this or not? Article 20 clause 3 says, सुनो पहले ध्यान से, Article 20 clause 3 says nobody can be forced or compelled to give evidence against himself. Police cannot force me to give evidence against myself. बता तो नहीं ये किया है और evidence भी दे. This is written in the constitution. ठीक है sir? Now see what happened in Mr. N.D. Tiwari case. This is a reality. He had a son who he did not accept as legitimate son of his initially. Then he filed a case in the court that he is my biological father and I should get my due share from his property and other things. ठीक है ना? He denied, no, he's not my son. Now you cannot establish the fact that he is son or not of Mr. N.D. Tiwari. So court said that, see, you should go for a DNA test. आपका DNA test होगा. Now he said, अच्छा. Then he asked for some time, 2-3 days. Then he read the polity notes. There he come to know about this. Article 20 clause 3 में लिखा है, nobody can be forced to give evidence against himself. And he gave this plea actually in the court. That you cannot force me to give evidence against me. My DNA can become an evidence against me. So I deny giving the evidence. Court said, अच्छा. Court said, we also know some law. And according to other provisions, because देखो बात ये देखो ना, this law is not absolute. It also has some ifs and buts. Court said agreed. When we are asking you to give DNA sample, this is not violation of Article 20 clause 3. This is to respect somebody's right to life. The person who filed this paternity case, he is having a he is having an indignified life because of his refusal that he is my son. So to acknowledge his right to life, we have to force you to give DNA sample, और उन्हें force किया गया. He gave the DNA sample and it was proved that he was only father of his. ठीक है? Sir, ठीक है? लिखो. Article 20 clause 3 says state cannot compel. Article 20 clause 3 says state cannot compel an individual to provide self incriminating evidence जो अपने खिलाफ चला जाए. Self incriminating evidence. This took place in another case also. Which case? अभी famous था. I did not ask for any legal thing. तेलगी narco analysis was done or not? You know narco analysis क्या चीज होती है? Narco analysis is a kind of test whereby you are given an injection, sodium pentothal. They give an injection and और वो injection अंदर जाते ही क्या बाहर आता है? सच. They give an injection whereby you start speaking the truth. Of course, you will be in a semi-conscious state. Okay. Now somebody filed a petition that this kind of narco analysis is a violation of Article 20 clause 3. Because when I say something in a semi-conscious state,